Hello and welcome to Focus on Disabilities. In case you forgot, because our last podcasts were recorded in September, and I mean they were released very recently, but they are extremely outdated. I am Jude Smith, and this is
Spencer Carlson.
And today's guest is.
I'm Miss Ciardo.
And Miss Ciardo is I'm
an intern at Case High School.
An intern at Case High School, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about autism, because Miss Ciardo also is a respite for a person with autism. You told me this before we came on. A respite for people with autism.
We'll have her explain.
Yeah.
So I do a couple things with people with autism. One of them is I do respite care. So what that is, it depends on the family. So for the family that I help, what I do is I come in and I help take care of that child, so that way the family can get stuff done, whether that be work or chores or go out and do stuff, grocery shopping, date nights, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those families don't get to do those things. And I also am a daily living specialist for another family. So what that means is I help the child do daily living skills. So whether that means helping them eat, take baths, go to the bathroom, stuff like that. So whatever you would consider a daily living skill.
I add instrumental activities of daily living.
Mm-hmm. And I also just babysit children on the spectrum as well.
Yeah.
What kind of experience do you have with autism?
So my brother is actually on the spectrum. He is 21 years old. He has been diagnosed since he was 13, but there has been signs since he was an infant. My mom says all the time that he was an easy baby because he didn't cry. That is a sign of autism. If you did not know, babies are supposed to cry when they're hungry or when they're wet or when they need care. My brother did not do those things. He needed to be woken up, to eat, to be changed, stuff like that.
Things of that nature.
Yeah, he was not meeting those developmental milestones that are typical for infants and kids as they grow older.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to meet those. And even now, little things like he has a hard time making eye contact. Not that eye contact is always necessary, but he does have difficulties doing those things. He is a wonderful, wonderful adult. He's an adult now. Oh, that's crazy. He's almost 22. And I've also been working with a child. He's now 12. I've been watching him since he was a year old for almost 11 years now. I was there when he got diagnosed at 5.
You told me that is this. You told me before we came on that. Wait, is this the person that you watched since before he was diagnosed?
Yes, I've been watching him since he was about a year and a half old. I was there prior to him being diagnosed. When his parents actually told me, I said to them, "Oh, I know." And his mom was like, "What do you mean you know?" And I was like, "Oh, I just didn't want to say anything," because I was, an 18-year-old kid at the time, and you don't just go around telling parents, "Oh yeah, your kid has autism." Yeah. That's not something that you're comfortable doing as a teenager. I think Jude wouldn't be comfortable telling a parent that. But I grew up with a sibling on the spectrum, so obviously I knew the signs. Like I saw those things.
How close in age are you and your brother?
A year and a half.
So did you go to the same schools?
Yes.
So how was that? Like, what was that experience going to the? Like, did you have to stick up for him? Like, did you have to advocate for him a lot in school or in public and that kind of things? Like, what kind of challenges or triumphs did you have with that?
Absolutely. There was some really good times and there was some really interesting times. So back, obviously I'm a lot older than Jude. Well, not a lot older. I'm only 8 years older than you. But so then there was a lot less, teachers weren't as informed as they are now. So then a lot of times I was pulled out of my classroom to interpret for my brother. So if they were having issues with my brother, they'd pull me out of my classroom and be like, okay, I can't understand what he's saying. What is he saying? Because my parents had informed the school that I understood him, which I did. That was 100% a truth. It wasn't a lie. But they used that, and they pulled me out of class to let them know what he was saying. And so I missed class to tell them what he was saying.
To be essentially a translator person. Interpreter, translator.
Because he also had some speech delays, so I was pulled out so that way I could interpret for them. And that was really hard because I was always known as the kid that was getting pulled out to translate for their little brother. And because there was such that close age gap, because he started school early at 3 years old, I started 4K. So we started school right at the same time. There was no, I started school, he started school. Same time. And we, at the time, we went through a K through 8th school. So until we moved, we were in the same school through and through.
Wow.
So until I started high school, that was the first time we were ever in a different school.
That is I have a sister, and she was born in 2010. I was born in 2007, and we didn't go because of years. We didn't go to the same. We didn't go to the same preschool. I went to Waterwitz because they were the only school that offered early childhood, and my sister went to Discovery Stage, but we both went to Gifford we both went to Gifford. I was in kindergarten before my sister was, but so we saw each other a lot in the hall. But the difference between you and your brother and me and my sister is that my sister absolutely despises me.
Rightfully so. No, just kidding.
Yeah. My sister absolutely despises me. It's like even if I was diagnosed on the spectrum, she probably wouldn't want to translate for me.
Well, I think that's to the point that what we talked about before in one of our other podcasts is like with me and my growing up with parents with disabilities, and people asking me what was that like. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you this. So my dad was born blind, and my mom got polio when she was an infant, so she didn't have use of one of her legs, and so she was wheelchair bound for a bit of for longer walking and that. She uses a cane and that. So I've been around people with disabilities my whole life thing too. So people ask me what my normal was, and I don't know, what was your normal like? That kind of a thing. Yeah. So I don't so I'm contradicting my own thing and saying it's like a normal sibling relationship, like what you have. But what was that kind of relationship like with him? For me, I didn't know any different. Like for you and your sister seem to have like an age gap. Me and my brother are only a year and a half apart. So that was the same dynamic at home. Like at home, it was the same thing. Alyssa, what is Jacob saying? What is he saying? Is he saying this? Is he saying that? Is he saying penguin? I don't know. Penguin is just the first thing that came to mind. Because I remember my parents asking me if he was saying penguin. I think he was actually saying blue. I just remember that for some reason. He was saying blue, but everyone thought it was penguin. I don't know. That's just like first memory that comes to mind. And even now his speech is a lot better. And even sometimes people are like, what is he saying? And I'm like, oh, I got you. I can. And his speech is a lot better. And even sometimes my brother would come up to me and he's like, no one understands what I'm saying. And I was like, he's like, but you do. And I'm like, yep. And then the next conversation is usually, can you take me to Target? But that's unrelated. Because he doesn't drive. So usually the next conversation is take me to Target. And still, at this point in our lives, he's still very, very dependent on me. I got him his current job. He works at McDonald's, which is my old job. So I got him that job.
and we worked together for almost a year. That was something. So he had many jobs before that. He had three different jobs before that. And he had done pretty well, like the normal, trying to call into work, like that type of stuff.
Right.
But the minute he started working with me, it was like training wheels went back on. He was like, okay, he one day came up to me, he called me, he just got to work 5 minutes, not even. He's like, they gave me this shirt. It was a promotional shirt. You guys have probably seen that at McDonald's. He's like, do I have to wear it? And I'm like, so when I handed you this shirt, you said nothing and walked out the store. Didn't ask them, and you chose to call me instead of asking them. He's like, yes. It's like, so I'm not at work right now, and you chose to call me and not ask. And he's like, yes. It's like, okay, what are you going to do when I no longer work there? Which I now no longer work there. He's like, I don't know. It's like, okay. I'm like, okay. And it was those little things, like, if he would get in an argument with a manager, he would call me. Or he'd say, call my sister. I'm like, no, don't call your sister. No.
You must attempt to be independent here.
Have you ever heard of social stories?
Yes.
Have you ever written any of those or helped your brother that way?
What?
I have not with him.
Oh, you don't know what social stories
are? Yeah, I'm very clue.
Social stories are really cool
They're
stuff.
They're great. So social stories are basically when you have a book with pictures and it's a story based on a situation. So it can be for example, Jude goes to the park, and it'd be a story about you going to the park. And it can actually be a park in your neighborhood and what you would do to get to the
specifics.
Park. Yep. Like Jude crosses this street to get to the park. Jude does this. Jude holds a hand. Jude does that. Like exactly what you would do to get from your house to the
might
park.
see somebody there. Mm-hmm. Jude might not. Mm-hmm. Da 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 da. Like you go through like scenarios to give them that. Yeah. It gives them that picture in their head as a story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I work. For reference, I do theater with a theater company called Pink Umbrella, who work exclusively with people with disabilities. Shameless plug time. Mm-hmm. I interviewed them. I interviewed Katie Cummings, who is the founder, on this podcast. Link in the description thing. So for their plays, they would create like, I am going to see a play. I am going to see a musical. It is going to be located at this venue. And then
it might be loud. It might be like they give those kind of things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
it's a lot of those kind of things that like you put those things in that might like be disruptive to their having success at something like that.
I know because I've seen my brother's IEP that they have tried him with him at school. However, it seemed like me just being there, just training wheels were back on. Like the minute I quit, he was fine. He was fine. He was back to, normal. Like, because I still have friends there and they keep me updated. He's perfectly fine now. Just the minute I was with him, he was like, okay, I don't have to do anything now. My sister's back. Like it was back being at school again. He's like, oh, cool. I don't have to do anything again. My sister's here. It was like being back at school. He's like, he lost all of those skills. It was
independence.
Like like he was working by himself, and then you get hired for the McDonald's job, and then he says, I am not gonna. I have my sister. I don't have to do things.
Because I had gotten in that job because I had been there for 7 years, and he needed a job. His hours had been reduced at work. Because the place was going under construction that he was at the time, and so I got him a job.
What kind of job duties does he have at McDonald's?
So the manager I had at the time actually created a job for him. There was not a job for him. There's people who did those duties, but there was not a job for him. So he does towel buckets, dishes, he wipes down tables, and he does takes the stock off the truck. So he does like a little bit of everyone else's jobs, and those are his jobs when he's there.
Like he'll take when you take stock off the truck. I've never worked at a fast food employment.
Well, how do you think the food gets there, Jude?
So it's basically like when they have like the fry boxes or the fries themselves, they get all that stuff off the truck and then he puts them away.
Oh, okay.
So there is someone there to assist him with that stuff because he does have some difficulty reading. So with dates and stuff, there is someone there to assist him, but like physically, he can take all that stuff off the truck.
Like he can take like the.
Does he do any inventory or anything like that?
No.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yes.
He is capable of it.
See, that's a really cool thing is to have a job like that where you can see. I can see right in my mind. Okay, there's opportunity to work on, like, you have confined interactions with people. So like that person on the delivery truck, being able to communicate with them. That's like communication skills, inventory, working with numbers, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's looking at those potentials and that really like help a person always progress to another level.
The best thing I ever did for him was quitting that job. Best thing I ever did for him. Like, I was already on my way out. That's part of the reason I got him that job is because I was, finishing up my degree and looking for something else. But the best thing I ever did for him was quitting that job because he needed me to walk away.
Yep.
He didn't.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that because you get comfortable, like and change. You get into routines and like change is. It can be hard.
And like I love my family, but like my grandparents were like, "Oh, he just wants his sister." I'm like, "No, I'm not helping him." It's like me being there is not helping him. All it's doing is putting those training wheels back on. Like he was like analogy, like he was able to ride an adult bike. Now he's back on a trike. Like he needs to get off the trike and go back on his adult bike because he was on his adult bike. He went back to the trike.
Yeah.
He doesn't need the trike. He can ride a two-wheel bike.
Yeah. If I may have an example from my own life, being disabled, a lot of people having cerebral palsy. A person in my theater class told me that when people see a disabled person, they automatically think that they're on the spectrum. And then the real gears turned in my head, and then I thought, oh, that's why people talk to me like this, and that's why people insist on doing things for me that I can do myself. Is that
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. And I see like generationally I'm 42 and I can't remember being in school with anybody diagnosed with autism at all. Like I can't think of anybody really. I mean, and being that old, like I've been in the district now for over 15 years. And they did some really great trainings on autism, and there was this saying that if you've met a person with autism, you've met one person with autism. That doesn't mean across the board you know everything about autism. Even if you've been with one person for a very long time, that's just one example. What works for them might not work for another. I worked with one student from first grade all the way through with autism.
Yeah.
And he was different than a lot of other people that I know. There are tricks and stuff that I've learned that really help in patience and a lot of other things. But
hold on. Give me a second here. Lost my train of thought. Joss, Miss Amy who works with Joss,
that's an experience with one person one person.
Yeah,
so like that doesn't necessarily translate to somebody else. Is what we're saying.
If Miss Amy, let's say Miss Amy transitioned from Josh to Chris, and
it wouldn't be you take everything that you do with this person and then you're going to do it with this person. It doesn't. Autism is not like that at all.
No, it's not.
But like what I was getting to with like what we were saying is like, so I've been with my schooling with not having any experience to now where there's a very high diagnosis rate and undiagnosed rate of people with autism and that. So it's so common now that it is like assumed sometimes that there's a double diagnosis like this and autism or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I can understand why you would be like kind of treated a different kind of way because like they're figuring, he must be a basket case. Because granted, that is the case.
Were you referencing Green Day or?
No, you're just a plain old basket case. Who knows what to make of you?
Yeah, my mom refers to me as an enigma.
An enigma wrapped in a puzzle, wrapped in a
shrouded in I
hidden underneath a 1,000-piece puzzle that doesn't have any
shrouded underneath like a giant
any picture. It's just white.
Yeah,
you have to figure that out.
Or like shrouded underneath a giant black tarp with some
undulating with
strange
noises.
Yes.
Like sometimes in a British accent.
Yes. So I found that I'm passable out of New York.
We're kind of getting up on time a little bit in that. So I want to ask you, Miss I got Ciardo. Huh?
Yeah.
like our
collective.
Like
I'm gonna remember that for the rest of my life.
A baker. Remember, she is a baker. You want to come and see our dough. There you go. What are your aspirations for after you're an internship, right? Mm-hmm. So after your internship, what are you hoping to do?
So I am actually currently applying to jobs because I graduate May 19th, actually, and then I finish out the year here. So I'll be here to the end of the school year. Sorry, Jude, you're not rid of me yet.
No worries.
He was like, I was hoping that she'd be gone.
Where are you applying?
I'm applying everywhere. I would love to stay in the district, In
education.
Yeah. So RUC, if you hear this,
focusing
in special ed?
Yep, special ed. Sorry, I had to make a plug. RUSD, hire me. But
they should.
Yeah.
My goodness.
But I want to stay in special education. I would like elementary school, but if I end up in high school, I would be perfectly okay with that too. I have one of my students that really wants me to go to Park High School, even though we're at Case.
No.
Jude knows what student this is.
Yeah.
But
and I don't understand his motives.
But I honestly, wherever life takes me is where it takes me, because I have, because of the certifications, the way it is now, because of the teacher shortage, I'll be certified for special ed kindergarten through 12th.
Wow.
So I would love to go in elementary school, but if life tells me that I belong in middle school, I belong in high school, then that's where I belong. I've been applying everywhere.
That's how I got here. My wife applied everywhere. She's a science teacher over at Walden right now, but it's in the old McKinley building because she got hired at McKinley.
Yeah.
She applied everywhere in the state, and this is where she got hired.
Even in places that like even in cities that I didn't even
there was like a school on the Menominee Reservation that she applied to. Like, I mean, literally everything that she was qualified to apply for, she applied for.
Yep.
So
I'm for reference. I'm pointing off screen because Mr. Love is raising his hand.
But according to WeCan, which is, Jude doesn't know this, I've applied to 48 different positions.
48?
In the last
How many of
3
those
weeks.
are in Racine Unified?
I think 15.
So that's a sizable number.
It's a quarter, right?
Just about.
It's
Almost.
It's sizable.
45, 50. It's a third, right? No.
Something like that. We gotta do math.
I think it is a third.
I think you're right.
Somebody will write in the comments. Right? 15 of 45 is a third.
Actually, I don't believe we have comments enabled.
Well, then you'll just have to tell me in the hall.
Because I would love to stay in Racine. I want to stay in Racine.
Are you from Racine?
No, I'm actually from Oak Creek.
One of those.
Oak Creek.
You're a knight?
Yep, I graduated from Oak Creek High School.
A knight. What?
A knight.
But I have family that lives in Racine.
But see, it doesn't say knee.
And honestly, one of the things I've always wanted to do is I want to, at whatever school I end up, is I want to start a support group for siblings of people with special needs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do that because I wish that was around when I was in school. Because I feel like there's a need for it.
Oh, yeah.
That's essentially what I'm trying to do with the Disabled Student Union, which
DSU,
yeah, which I don't even know if
You
it's
just got to get your grades up so you don't have to worry about that, so you can have more meetings.
yeah, and I looked at my internet campus. My grades are good, but you don't need to worry about that right now, people in YouTube land.
Good. Jude's got his grades up.
Because that's something that I've always wanted to do because I feel like, especially like inviting the siblings and, the siblings with disabilities and without disabilities, like being able to build those relationships as well as be able to have that foundation because I feel like there's a lot of things that I didn't know growing up that I should have known, and there's also things that I needed support on that I didn't get, and also things my brother needed support on that he didn't get.
Well, it's one of those things that once you've lived it, then you have that experience.
Yep.
And then it's what you have that you want to share with the next person.
Yeah.
And be able to help so that not everybody is reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
Because that can be a really hard part. And why not help?
Yeah.
All right, we got 2 minutes.
Dos minutos.
Dos minutos. So with that, I think we should wrap this up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you.
So we want to say thank you.
Yes.
To Miss
Ciardo.
Our.
So we have to come up with something.
Need the dough. You gotta need the dough. Yeah. Put it in the pan.
Thanks for having me.
Put it in the oven. Ciardo.
Yes.
Ciardo.
And we are.
What kind of a name is Ciardo? Do you know?
It's Italian.
Italian. See, they bake, don't they? They have Italian bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ciardo. That we're making.
And also
Italian
pasta dough because they're known for pasta.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you make
pasta dough. Yeah, you don't even have to bake it.
Out of dough. 1 minute.
You can boil it.
1 minute. Thank you, Miss Ciardo.
Thank you.
It was painless, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was painless.
So now you can tell Miss Shreddle and others that it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we should get Shreddle on for next.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you.
Again.
And wrap.
Thank you.